Formula One sprint, a new way of making audiences hyped for the big races that Formula One has. An F1 sprint is kind of a way of making up for boring races that have happened in the past that I could give examples of, but there's just too many to think of. There's even a season long full of boring races, but this F1 sprint format has been a bit of a pain in the ass, if I'm honest, because there have been a lot of controversies about this whole F1 sprint, and in these 3 seasons where there have been F1 sprints, there have been changes all the time. So, the introduction of the F1 sprint, it sounded like a good idea, but to some extent, it was a better idea. If you think about Stefano Domenicali's perspective, it was a great idea. And well, the ideas were a lot for some people who wanted to see sprints and who were F2 fans rather than F1 fans, because F2 is a lot more exhilarating in just a race. And well, when it was introduced in 2021, there was criticism. But again, it seemed to make sense. So the purpose of F1 Sprint was to, give more action to Formula One, because we lacked a lot of interesting races, and just give a whole new way of qualifying for the main race. So how F1 Sprint was going to be was that there was going to be Friday practice, of course, and then Friday qualifying, which felt a bit weird to me at some point, but then again, it was quite normal. And then on Saturday, we have free practice too. And then later on in the day, we have the sprint race, which, in wherever you finish is where you're going to start for the main race. And there were going to be points awarded for it. So if you finish first, you're going to get 3 points. If you finished second, you're going to get 2. Finished third, you're going to get 1. I think that's how it was. I don't really remember much from it. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it proved to be exciting at some races, such as Silverstone 2021, which was a very crazy weekend, and Brazil as well that same year, from what seemed to be a lot controversial at the start. Lewis Hamilton and the DRS issue, going from P20 to P5, back to P10, and then to P1, which was incredible. In 2022, we had another change. Now, of course, the format stayed the same, but the pole was decided by whoever wins the sprint race. This time in 2022, the pole was going to be decided by whoever qualifies first, which is how it's supposed to be. So in Austria, we saw a great sprint race, which saw many things happening. And Brazil 2022, where we saw Kevin Magnussen get pole, which was unexpected. And the sprint did seem quite good until 2023 came around, and that is when a lot of things came. This time the sprint would be somewhat confusing, as whenever there's a sprint weekend, there's only one practice. Then you got the qualifying for Sunday's race on a Friday, and then on Saturday you've got sprint qualifying, and then later on you've got the sprint race itself, and then on Sunday you've got the main race, as it should be. And I don't think I like that format where there's the sprint qualifying and then there's the sprint race later on in the day. MotoGP kind of do the same, but that's MotoGP. And for Formula One, I don't think that's good, because disadvantages are the cost cap. Why put sprint races when there's a cost cap? Because a lot of people complain about how tight the cost cap is, especially the teams, and then you've got these extra races in the season, where we've got 23 races this year, and we're gonna have about 29 races in total, plus the sprint races. And if there are crashes, the charges and the costs keep on rising. Entertainment, artificial entertainment, as Max Verstappen did say in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The sprint races just bring artificial entertainment. We need natural entertainment, because there is no way you're going to alter a load of formats just to make the sport exhilarating. Again, there's a lot of factors which make Formula One boring sometimes, and I'm not going to explain that in this video because that's for another separate video, but this artificial entertainment just doesn't fit well with the pinnacle of motorsport. And well, going to the next point that I have, more accidents, because in sprint qualifying, well, you qualify, but sometimes, just like Logan Sargent did, you crash out. You crash out of qualifying. If the car is that badly damaged, like let's say at a street circuit or something like he did, you can't take part in the sprint race. Or even if you do, if you fix the car, you may get into another accident in the sprint race. And then you fix the car for Sunday and then crash again. I mean, that's more Latifi Mazepin style, but that's kind of realistic, and well, that has to go hand in hand with the cost cap issues, and well, it's very terrible. And then again, you've got the confusing formats. Like I've mentioned, I don't know how you have sprint qualifying and then the sprint race later, or just in the same day, while there is no practice at all for the drivers, which is kind of unfair. They don't get to practice on their race starts. They have to do that on Friday instead, very early on in the morning, and it just doesn't work. The F1 sprint was good in 2021 and 2022 when the format was normal, but in 2023 the format just doesn't make sense, and I mean, it's kind of killing the pinnacle of motorsport. And I agree with Max Verstappen. For the first time in my life, I agree with him. That's not supposed to be satire or anything, but it's just supposed to be the truth. But I mean, I honestly agree with the lad, because this is artificial entertainment and I think it should be gone. Well, that's my opinion on F1 Sprint. I don't know about you guys, but I think it should be removed. Thank you so much for watching, and well, subscribe if you're new. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment what you think about the F1 Sprint or anything else. And from me, Octave F1, it's goodbye.